Good morning, everyone. It is 9:20 a.m. It is a beautiful day here in Colorado, and today we are going to be heading out to one of Colorado's most well-preserved ghost towns, St. Elmo. It's about 2.5 hours to the west of us right now, but if the drives I've taken out in this state have been any indication of anything, I think we're going to see some really pretty scenery along the way, might see some really cool stuff along the way, who knows. I did prepare a little bit. I don't know how much hiking is going to be involved, but I do have my boots down there. I've got my backpack here that has just like my long sleeve shirt in it. It's got some water and a couple snacks in there. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of hiking. From what I read, it should be just a straight drive in there. There's not really a lot of backcountry or anything. I'm sure there's a lot of dirt roads, but not like super rough backcountry or anything like that. So without any further ado, let's get on the road. Here we go. Okay, so I wanted to stop and share with you guys my favorite spot on Highway 24, at least as far as I've traveled it. Okay, so I've stopped at this gas station and they're selling canned oxygen. I'm assuming aerosol, but canned oxygen under the guise of helping with like altitude sickness or something like that. I don't know how much science there is behind that, but it sounds like a lot of crap to me. Okay, I almost missed this. I almost drove right past it, but oh my goodness. Okay, so getting out of there was actually kind of difficult. Really glad I wore my hiking boots down there, but yeah, really beautiful scenery, some really pretty shots, and I think St. Elmo is only about 10 miles away, so we're gonna go there and see what we can find. Here we go. All right, made it into St. Elmo. It's very clear already that this is more of a tourist destination. So it is a ghost town. There's a lot of history here, but there's more people here than I had anticipated, which isn't really a problem, but just more of a heads up for anybody else that comes out here. It's not super abandoned or anything. They are kind of, from what I can tell, restoring it. There's a restoration project that's being paid for by like the gambling taxes and stuff like that, or limited gaming, as I've been seeing it called. So we're gonna go out here and see what we can find. Here we go. So they do appear to be restoring quite a bit of it right over here. Looks like an old church or schoolhouse down over here, but they're doing a lot to kind of restore the whole area right now. So it looks like gotten quite a bit of grants, kind of restore the whole thing. Here's a newspaper talking about how they're restoring it. There's a bug in there. Archaeologist watches for artifacts as an excavator carefully removes a layer of soil in the yard of the Stark Brothers store and home comfort hotel in St. Elmo. So, like I said, semi-ghost town. Oh, this is really cool. Kind of dark. Luckily, this thing picks up stuff really well. Due to the abundance of water, fish, and game, the area that was later to be called St. Elmo had long been frequented by Native Americans. First forest city renamed St. Elmo. Town was laid out in 1880. Used to be a railroad that ran through here. In 1882, the Alpine Tunnel was completed. DSP&P originated in Denver. Traveled over Kenosha Pass and through South Park. I'm not sure this is supposed to be a house. Like a small house. It looks like it was a school of some kind. So they are taking a lot of donations. If this is something that you're into, I'm sure they would be happy to get like donations and stuff like that. Oh wow. And just kind of expands down here. So from what I was reading, this was either a silver or gold mining town. Main house? Whitney Forbes main house. Spelled Maine like the state. If I'm not mistaken, the gold was found by accident, actually. Again, a lot of these places, the stories kind of like run together and everything, so I'm not totally sure about that. Okay, so the road does continue up there and kind of around, but I want to get more of the town. I want to see more of this town, because this is one of the bigger ghost towns that I've seen before. Not that I've been to several, but I've been to quite a few, and this is definitely one of the larger ones. It's spread out. There's a ton of buildings still here somehow. I don't know how it hasn't been ruined, but I'm glad they're kind of catching it before all this like falls down and they're kind of restoring it and everything. I'm also glad I get to see it in its original state as close as we can, because if the restoration makes anything modernized or anything like that, that'll kind of take away from it, I think, a little bit. But I did not see this before, but there is a legitimate old school outhouse right there. That's pretty cool. And we're gonna come down here and see what else we can find in this town. So this is pretty cool. My grandmother would love this. My grandmother's full-blooded Italian, and these are voting instructions in Italian, which is pretty cool. So I did find the address if anybody wants to donate, stuff like that. It's, I think, important to point out that this is not like endorsed or anything like that. I mean, it's my third video, for Christ's sake. I know it was for the mining, but with a view like that, it's easy to see why anybody would be attracted to this kind of place anyway. Anybody want to buy some mining property? Okay, after a little walking around, did find some information on the past of the spot specifically. It was a gold mining that brought a lot of people here back in the 1870s. So it produced over $60 million, considered a hub town and for supplies that were then delivered by wagon. And then, from what I understand from reading like other material and stuff like that, the area kind of went out whenever Aspen kind of started blowing up and everything, and that kind of put this place out of business. I'm not sure if any of this is for sale. It doesn't, oh yeah, it is. That's pretty cool. I don't know if this is all authentic stuff, but it's really cool. You can come down here and buy some of this stuff. I'm sorry, does it say fallout shelter? It does say fallout shelter. I don't know if that's like a fallout shelter, but I can't imagine it is, since fallout wasn't really an issue till mid-1900s, but what do I know? So I'm seeing a lot of things about a fire that took place here and burned down like 4 buildings, and I think that is one of the buildings right there. I mean, you can tell it's made of really old wood, and I'm sure that's what a lot of this restoration is from the fire, as well as, you know, it just being a 130-year-old town at this point. And still have not found anybody. I did find that general store. I'm gonna probably go in there and talk to somebody, see if I can get some information, see if there's more stuff that I'm kind of missing. I found this really cool old bridge here. Okay, so I did see another building up here that looks kind of like a old church, old schoolyard maybe. That's what I thought the other one was too though, so who knows? I could be wrong again, but we're gonna go up here up the road and see what that is. And it would appear I was right this time. Schoolhouse. St. Elmo Schoolhouse, circa 1882. Let's go in here. Oh, this is like old-timey, like cliche old-timey. More information about the donations. Cannot go in here though, however, that is really cool. That may be from old students, I'm not sure. There's a, see a human anatomy thing back there in the back. Got a heating element right there in the middle, like a, sure that's how they're heating the schoolhouse. Lord only knows how cold it got up here. That's really cool to see. Looks fairly original. I mean, I know they're doing restoration, but if a lot of that is new, they're doing a really good job. Well, there's a group of like 3 people walking up over there. They asked me about the cemetery. I told them I wasn't sure, and they actually ended up knowing more about it than I did, because I didn't even know there was a cemetery here, and there's supposed to be something that says who's buried where and stuff like that. So I think that is the next stop. We're gonna go over to the store and ask about the cemetery, and then we're gonna see if there's any mining stuff that we can go capture. So here we go. Okay, so did stop in at the store, bought some water because the lady was really nice, and she did tell me that the cemetery is actually on the way out of town. So we'll probably check that out on the way home. In the meantime, I'm gonna kind of walk around some more, see if we can find some really cool stuff to document. She did tell me where I saw the road go up. It basically just intersects with the highway, so it's just kind of a way of, another way of getting here, which I'm sure is probably good for like tourism, stuff like that. But yeah, let's see what else this town has in it. So there is the old schoolhouse over there, and here's one of the abandoned cabins. This thing actually spreads out way further than I thought it did. Usually it's just like one main strip, you got a few buildings. I came out of town, came down the road across that bridge, and when you turn left, you find this. More stuff down here. There's like a ton of old buildings here. It's huge. This is like bigger than some modern towns I've seen. Not quite as many people. And then yeah, you have like modern buildings like that you can tell like people are still living in and everything, but you still have roads building. I keep forgetting they have these signs over here that are kind of identifying everything. Old wallpaper. How old can that be? Ah, it's incredible. It's incredible that this old stuff is still standing. I mean, it's dilapidated and everything, but it's still standing. That's insane. Got more old buildings over here. Their house right over here. Green Street House, circa 1881. What I'm assuming is an outhouse over there. Little chipmunk. That chipmunk just scared the crap out of me. God, it's just incredible. The houses are just... These are all starting to change color too. That's really pretty. No trespassing. I mean, I'm not gonna go inside, but does that count standing out here? I'm wondering if the outhouses are still in use, honestly. Igni house. And barn. Old outhouse inside of the outhouse. Or unless it's a barn. I don't know if that counted as a barn back then. I wouldn't think so, but then you got houses like this that are clearly newer, but people might be living in them. Like that's his private property over there, so we won't be going over there. Private drive keep out. So we will be staying off of there out of respect for the people that live here. So there's a pass that goes up that way that we will not be traveling up because my car would not make it up that. These old towns are just so cool to me because it really just shows where we came from, where we used to be, and like how far we've come. I mean, it's crazy, but at the same time, this stuff has endured this long especially the weather that's out here. The weather gets absolutely nuts out here, and these buildings have lasted. A lot of them are being renovated, but you can tell the ones that are just, they're renovating them, but they're adding on to them. It's not like they like fell apart completely or anything like that. The sign over here says the St. Elmo town site and buildings in the surrounding area are private property. Please do not trespass. That sign right there says Poplar Gulch Trail has been relocated. Please use the new trailhead. Looks like half a mile or a quarter mile west on Tin Cup Pass Road, which should be right up there. Probably not going to do that. Public road through private property. Stay on the road. As long as we stay on the road, we should be good. As far back as this, or I mean, as wide as this place spreads out, it would not surprise me if there's a bunch of stuff down here. It's crazy. Like I said, a lot of times you'll get like a main street, or you'll get like a few buildings here and there, but this is like the town is still here. There's a really cool location for an old house, but it did say private property, so we won't be going up there. This does say welcome though. Okay, I'm not risking going onto private property in the backwoods. That's not gonna happen. I know it says welcome, but that doesn't mean come on in. I think my car would handle all of this just fine. I'm starting to think perhaps a vehicle may be the better option.
'Cause we are meant to be. We are meant to be. Oh, if only you could see that we are meant to be.
Really glad I didn't turn around yet, because otherwise I would have missed that creek, which is really cool. However, I'm pretty sure I've seen stuff in walking distance. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make my way back to the car, kind of head back up this road and see if there's anything further down there. And if I can't find anything cool down there, we're gonna head up to that cemetery, because now 2 different people have told me the exact same spot, which means it's down here somewhere. So here we go.
Maybe someday you will too. 'Cause we are meant to be. We are meant to be. Oh, if only you could see that we are meant to be. You've been warned about me. You've heard that all I do is obsess about you. But if only you could see that we are meant to be.
Okay, so headed out of town right now to the cemetery, which is supposed to be down that road. So we will see. However, on my way down there, I found this. A really old building down here. Looks like people may be living down there. I'm amazed people are living here. I haven't seen anybody walking around these houses, walking near these houses or anything, and it says private property. I don't know if I'm on the private property right now, in which case I'm sorry. A lot of really cool stuff just kind of tucked away back here. I don't want to go down there. You know, trespassing in the backwoods is exactly how horror movies reach their climax, so I'm not about to do that. However, what I am about to do is go check out the cemetery. Made it to Iron City Cemetery is the name of it. It's right as you come down this road right here. You're gonna see a sign for Iron City Campground, and you just kind of follow it through the campground and it leads you right here to the cemetery. This is pretty creepy. Makes for a good addition to a ghost town. I mean, Lord only knows how old this is. This looks fairly new. So here we have Iron City Cemetery, and I don't know if these are all the people here or all the people they could keep records of, but there are 3 fairly lengthy columns here. People's names, information on their deaths and everything. So let's go see what we can find in here. So you can already tell this is not laid out like a cemetery that you would think of. It's kind of got like trails going up here and everything. And you do have the headstones, but it's almost laid out like some weird park. It's very odd. First one I'm coming up to is Haley, 1889. So this is from 1893. It's like 135 years ago. That's crazy. Another one down here. I don't know if these people are actually buried underneath here. See, and this is just kind of a marker. It's a very odd setting, very odd lineup. Brian C. Hovey. So this would be, I don't know if it's like a foot marker, because they were only a couple months old. That was a baby. That's the thing back then, though. Back then you had a lot of, I mean, children died a lot because of disease and everything. Medicine wasn't anywhere near what it is today. The one here is actually got its own little fenced-in area. There's another one down there that's got its own little fenced-in area. I don't know if you can make that out on here. Here's another one, only 10 years old. How many hopes he buried here. For the time, that is pretty extravagant. I'm not sure. 14 years, 1 month, and 6 days. Have to do a little more research because there's seem to be a lot of younger kids buried here. See, and then this is clearly, I mean, you can see by just the size of this here, that was definitely a kid. Oh man. How long do you think that's been here? I don't even want to touch it. I feel like it might turn to dust in my hand. Here's another one. Oh, we have a Mason here. Look at that. Freemasons. Daniel Clark. I wonder if these were for like more prominent members. I would imagine, since it probably cost a lot more to do that than it did that. It's a fairly expansive. I mean, it goes way down there. And we're gonna totally check it out. I believe that's marble right there. 66 years of age. Which I would imagine for back then, probably pretty good. I mean, even nowadays, that's a pretty good long life. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that would be for. What is that? If anybody knows what that is, leave it in the comments. Here's another one. Baby Nilsson. Oh, it's supposed to be like a bassinet for a dead baby. Cheerful. Not that this is a cheerful place. The condition of that is, that's crazy. Lots of headstones here with no names. They're just markers. Now, it did say something about a fire at one point, and I don't know if a lot of this is from that, because like I said, there are a lot of teenagers or a lot of kids buried here, and so I don't know if it's got anything to do with the fire. I'm gonna have to do a little more research on it when I get back to the house. A lot of history here. A lot of information, a lot of history. Here lies Lester something, and they just kind of put that in there, probably with like some sort of chisel. The gate is open. No life. I think it says, what does that say? No les, no more, because his name was Lester. Okay, I don't know if that's supposed to be funny, if I was supposed to feel bad about laughing about it, but it's pretty clever. What I would assume is another child's gravesite. Taylor, Desi, Bob, Roberta. In loving memory. Oh wow. 1943 to 1980. That is actually recent. So that's actually a recent one. There's all these stones all over this. She must have been prominent or important some way for people to still, I mean, a lot of this stuff doesn't look like it's been there forever. This is one of the more interesting cemeteries I've been to. I've always thought cemeteries are really cool. It goes along with the whole history thing. It's not really a macabre thing or anything like that, but it's got a lot of history to it. And this is a this is one of the, like I said, one of the cooler cemeteries that I've seen. It doesn't really seem to have a set layout or anything like that. It just seems to be kind of here. Like this is just a spot where they buried their dead. Or with it being a small town, I can't imagine they had to worry about a lot of space, but there's still residents here, so I don't really know if they're still burying people here. Coming up here, some more recent ones, relatively. John Vincent Carey, Martha Roxana Carey, and Allison Cheyenne Ney. Oh wow, that is actually very recent. 2008, must have been the daughter. Beautifully sad. You can see this is clearly laid here on purpose. Kind of blends in with the surroundings. And then we've got some headstones down here that are much smaller. Also Carey's. So this is like a whole family kind of plot over here. 1989. Wife, mother, sister. Frank Howard, 1991. This is kind of this side of it, and then it kind of spans all the way down there. Odd. It's a book with no information. It says 82 on there. I see that. It says 82. I don't know if it's 1982 or 1882. Here it could be either. This one's got some, oh, it's got a carving on it. These are not like tombstones that I've seen before. And I don't know if that's just me with a certain level of historical ignorance, but I've not seen a cemetery laid out like this before. I've not seen headstones like this before. I've seen like these markers kind of like that. Those are very traditional. You see them in like, you know, haunted houses, stuff like that. But like this one right here that we just saw, and then that other one right up there, carved out like a book. I've not seen something like that before. I'm really, really glad I ran into those people, because those people are the ones that told me about this. They were actually here as I was coming up, but they were kind of doing their own thing or whatever. They're the ones that told me about the cemetery. Went to the general store. The really nice lady at the general store ended up telling me where it was, and here we are. I'm gonna do one last kind of walkthrough of this place, get a couple of really cool shots, and then probably head on home, I think. All right, well, that turned out to be a heck of a lot of fun. I had my reservations at first when I went into town and saw that there were people and the renovations and everything. But the more I went through it, the more I saw, the more you get to really see how awesome it is that stuff is still standing. They're doing renovations, and it seems like they're really kind of sticking to the old school feel of it. Of course, the cemetery was absolutely awesome. So I almost missed this coming in, and on my way out of here, I noticed it. This is a bunch of the old mining stuff. A bunch of the old buildings and stuff over here. I don't know exactly what part this would have been. Yeah, this is all ruins and stuff from when they were doing the mining out here. I thought that was really cool. really cool little find on the way out of here. So anyway, we're gonna call it there. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. If you're liking these videos, go ahead and throw me a like. If you want to stay up to date on them, go ahead and throw me a subscription, and I will see you guys next time.